So we need to rewrite each equation in exponential form. So we're going to start by taking the base out of the basement. So we have 6. Our exponent comes from the other side of the equal sign, and then that's going to be equal to the answer, which is 36. Number 3, we take the base out of the basement. So we have 14. Our exponent comes from the other side of the equal sign, and that's equal to 1 over 196. Any questions on these two? Alright, next we're taking it from exponential form and putting it into logarithmic form. So we're going to start with the word log. Always logarithmic form starts with the word log. So our base is going to go into the basement. Next we write our answer because A goes next to B, and then that's equal to the exponent 1/2. Number 7, we're going to start with the word log. Our base goes into the basement. Then we write our answer, and then that's equal to the exponent, which is -2. Any questions on this one? Okay, next we're rewriting the equation into exponential form again, but this one doesn't give us numbers, it gives us variables, but we're going to do the same thing. So we take the base out of the basement. Our exponent comes from the other side of the equal sign, and then that's equal to the answer, which is 15 over 16. Number 11, we take the base out of the basement. Our exponent comes from the other side of the equal sign, and then that's equal to x. And 13, we take the base out of the basement. Our exponent comes from the other side of the equals, and that's equal to v. Any questions on these three? No questions? All right, let's move on to 15. We're going to rewrite the equation into logarithmic form. So again, we have log form, so we start with the word log. Our base goes into the basement. Next goes our answer, and then that's equal to our exponent, which is -14. 17. So we're putting it into log form, so we need to start with log. Our base goes into the basement. Next we write our answer, and then that's equal to the exponent. Okay, last one like this. It's in log form, so we start with the word log. Our base goes into the basement. Next we write our answer, and then that's equal to the exponent. Any questions? All right, 21. Now's the fun part where we evaluate each expression. So this is going to be equal to some number, which we can call it x. So we're going to put this into exponential form so we can see it a little bit better. So we're going to say 4 raised to the x is equal to 64. 4 raised to the x, we need to find what number, what power can we use here to get 4 raised to that power is equal to 64. So we can try 4 raised to the 1, which is just 4. 4 raised to the 2 would be 16, because that would be like saying 4 times 4. 4 raised to the 3 would be 4 times 4 times 4, so 16 times 4, which would be 6. Okay, so we can see here that 4 raised to the 3 gives us 64. So 4 raised to 3 is 64, so x has to be equal to 3. So this here is our answer. Any questions on this one? All right, let's go to 23. So we have log base 4 of 16 is equal to some number x. So we know that 4 raised to the x is equal to 16. We just saw here that 4 raised to the second power is 16. So 4 squared is equal to 16. So our x has to be equal to 2. So 23, our answer is 2. Any questions on this one? All right, let's go to 25. So log base 5 of 125 is equal to some number x. So we have 5 raised to the x is equal to 125. We need to find 5 raised to what power gives us 125. So we could try 5 to the first power, which is just 5. 5 squared, which is 25. 5 to the third power would be like saying 5 times 5 times 5. So 25 times 5, which would give us 125. So we know 5 to the third power is 125. So x has to equal 3. Any questions on this one? All right, 27. So here we have log base 343 of 7 is equal to x. So 343 raised to the x is equal to 7. So we need to find what power can we raise 343 to give us 7, which we know it's not going to be a whole number, because if we try 343 raised to the first power, that would give us 343, which would be too big. 343 raised to the second power would be even bigger. So it's not going to be a whole number, so now we need to try fractions. One way we could do this is we can see how we can break this down. So I'm going to try this over here. So I'm going to see, I want our bases to be equal. That way we can get rid of the bases. So I want to see 7 raised to what power gives us 343. So I'm only working with this left side here. I want to see 7 raised to what power will give us 343. So I can try 7 raised to the 1, which would be 7. 7 raised to the 2 would be 49. 7 cubed would be 343. So we know 7 raised to the third power is 343. So I'm going to replace this 343 in our equation with 7 raised to the third power. So I'm just going to take out this 343 and put in 7 raised to the third power. We still need this x, and that's going to be equal to 7. So now that we have our bases that are the same, we know that this is a 7 raised to the first power. So I can get rid of the bases and just say that 3x is equal to 1. And then I can divide 3 on both sides, so I get x is equal to 1/3. So this is our answer for 27. So our goal here was to get the bases to be equal, to be the same thing. That way we can just take out the bases and we put the exponents equal to each other. So we have 3x is equal to 1. Then we divide 3 on both sides, so we get x is equal to 1/3. We're going to do the same thing for 29. Any questions on that one? All right, let's look at 29. So we have 64 raised to the x is equal to 4. Since 4 is smaller than 64, we know it has to be a fraction. So I'm going to figure out 4 raised to what power gives us 64? So if I have 4 to the first power, that's 4. 4 to the second power, that would be 16. And 4 to the third power would be 64. So 4 to the third power is the same thing as 64. So I'm going to take out this 64 in the equation and put in 4 to the third power. So we have 4 cubed, and I still need that x there. So 4 cubed times x is equal to 4. Now this 4 is 4 to the first power. So now that our bases are the same, I can just get rid of these 4's and say 3 is equal to 1. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So I have x is equal to 1/3. Any questions from the homework?